We come now to the section of the Parsis in India. Myths mingle with history regarding the coming of the Parsis to this country of India. Historically, contact between India and Persia over the land route goes back to ancient periods when the words Parsika is used for Iranians, Pehlavas for Parthians, and the Iranian priests were called the Maga. The migration of Zoroastrians after the Sassanian defeat dates between the 7th to 9th centuries CE, when groups sailed for India, where they had earlier links of trade and believed they would find refuge. After an initial settlement in Diu for 18 years, a group shifted to the mainland. Historically, the Kisse Sanjan by Bahman Kaikobad is written much later in 1600 CE. It's the only document about this period, with the 5 conditions of adaptation to their new homeland. But oral tradition has preserved in song and story and tells us of this landing. The Jadav Mandaliks ruled the region, and the myth of Jadi Rana and the sugar in the milk began. Jadi Rana, it is said, signified with a bowl full of milk that his country was full to the brim. The priestly leader of the refugees stirred a spoonful of sugar into the bowl, signifying that, like the sugar in the milk, the refugees would sweeten their adopted land. The king was impressed and gave shelter with certain conditions. These included explaining the religion, using Gujarati as their new language, women were to change to the Indian sari as their dress, and all weapons were to be put away. And a strange little thing, weddings should take place after sunset. Since they came from Pars, the people became called the Parsis. The Sanjan archaeological excavations have revealed ceramics and coins from this period. The Dakhma at Sanjan indicates a considerable Zoroastrian presence, and its 10th century dating makes it perhaps the earliest Zoroastrian structure on Indian soil. The Sanjan column, created many years later, commemorates their landing. The first fire temple was enthroned at Sanjan in 712 CE. Since they had lost their Persian king, the Parsis would henceforth regard this fire as their ruler, their Iran Shah. Time passed with continuous fighting between Muslim rulers and Hindu kings. Alaf Khan, a general in Muhammad Tughlaq's army, attacked the community at Sanjan, and the Parsis helped the Hindu ruler but were outnumbered and defeated. The survivors fled to the nearby Barot hills with the sacred Iran Shah fire, hiding in caves for 12 years. The fire was moved to Basda, the forest, for 14 years. It was then moved to Navsari and moved again and again, till finally the Iran Shah, the most revered of all fires in India, was enthroned at Udwara in 1742. The Parsis lived on the west coast of India as agriculturists, weavers, and shipbuilders. Religious authority was supreme, and Navsari became a center of community activity where the Vadi Dar-e-Meher was built in 1142. Many famous families have their roots in this town, beginning with Changa Asa, who financed the building of the Navsari Atash Behram and started a correspondence called the Riwayats with the priesthood of Iran. These letters, manuscripts, and instructions made the Navsari priesthood the most learned, and Navsari became the Dharamni Tekri, or pinnacle of religion. During the conquest of Western India by Mughal Emperor Akbar, Parsis came to the notice of the central Mughal authority. The first Dastur Meherji Rana was invited to discuss his fate with the emperor between 1570 and 1578. His spirituality impressed Emperor Akbar, and he was among the first of the Zoroastrians who came to the Mughal court to help Akbar with his new religion, the Din-e-Ilahi, which combined the best beliefs from across the land. According to the historian Al-Baduni, the bond of the Persian language and Akbar's Persian lineage drew him to this religion of Zarathustra, and the emperor ordered that a fire be kept burning constantly at court, while the Persian calendar now became the Mughal calendar. When the Europeans set up their factories for silk and cotton weaving, they used the Parsis as experts, while the Parsi influence with the Mughals made them intermediaries between East and West. The Parsis had no caste barriers to prevent interaction with other religions, and soon they became Dubashis, literally those who speak more than one bhasha or language. The Dutch, the French, the Portuguese, and English used Parsis as brokers in their factories and as agents with governments. In Surat and the surrounding areas, weaving and embroidery created opportunities for the Parsis, and during commercial activities, the Parsis began adopting Hindu names according to their trade, such as Mehta, Modi, and Jinwala, and places from the villages where they lived, Udwadia from Udwada, Randeria from Randeer, etc. The first bakery of India, that of the Dotiwalas of Surat, whose Dutch recipes created this bakery, is now world famous and supplies its products across the globe. The most famous name, though its origins are forgotten, and which has named one of India's most famous textiles, comes from Surat. 3 Parsi brothers from Surat brought back a special Chinese jacquard weaving technique and set up looms at Surat. They were the Tan, meaning 3, Choi from China or Chinese brothers, who became the Tanchoi weavers of the silk which still bears their name. Another important story linked with the intercultural assimilation is that of Ardeshar Dhanjisha, Kotwal or head of police in Surat, and Swami Sajanand Maharaj, founder of the Swami Narayan sect. This dates to about 1825. After years of lawlessness, Ardeshar brought peace to the rich port of Surat and was rewarded with the Swamiji's own turban or feta as a thanksgiving and blessing. Till today, on the Hindu festival of Bhai Dooj after Diwali, these objects from a Parsi home are carried in a public procession, and the priests of the Swami Narayan sect perform a puja in this house. The Magi tradition of healing has been kept alive in Gujarat, where Parsis served at Indian courts as doctors, hakims, and veds. Today, all that remains of this traditional medical knowledge is the work of the hardwaids or bone setters who, working for charity, follow chiropractic methods. Some have treated over 500,000 patients, all for free. The number itself is remarkable in medical history. When the British acquired the islands of Bombay from Portugal in 1661, they encouraged Parsi shipbuilders and businessmen to shift from the ports of Gujarat, namely Surat and Bharuch, to this new area. With this began a period of prosperity, and the Parsis played a major role in the development of trade, industry, and infrastructure building, becoming pioneers in the making of modern India. The partnership of Lauji Wadia and the British from 1736 marked a turning point. The Wadia family initiated trade to Southeast Asia and China. The oldest warship in the world, the HMS Trincomalee, is now in the UK. It was built by the Wadias. While the American national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, was written by Francis Scott Key on an other Wadia ship, the HMS Minden. The sea trade of opium and cotton developed from Bombay and Calcutta, creating strong connections with the Far East, where Parsis set up factories in Canton and Shanghai in China. From the first Indian baronet, Sir Jamshedji Jijiboy, 1753 to 1859, who strayed in the Far East with partner William Jardine, created a vast fortune, there was always a giving back to society. In his case, through the J.J. Charitable Trusts, hospitals, the creation of the best known art college, the Sir J.J. School of Arts in Bombay, and other charities. In India, the Parsis became known for their philanthropy and their determination to give back to society in every way possible. Acculturation can also be seen in the Parsis of the Deccan, where they first went as traders and later became important courtiers to the Nizams of Hyderabad, bankers and leaders in establishing infrastructure across central and southern India. They take pride in their Deccani heritage and continue to contribute to the economic and cultural life of these regions.